How men flirt over text without trying too hard. A lot of men ruin attraction before they even meet a woman in person. Not because they're ugly, not because they're boring, but because they try way too hard over text. They, over text, force conversations, try too hard to impress, send too much attention too early, panic when replies slow down, and without realizing it, they slowly kill the natural vibe. Because texting is not supposed to feel like an interview, a performance, or a full-time job. The best texting usually feels relaxed, playful, natural, calm. And one thing women notice very quickly is this. A man who is comfortable talking to women feels very different from a man trying desperately to win a woman over text. That difference matters a lot, because attraction over text is less about saying perfect lines and more about the energy you bring into the conversation. So in this video, we're going to break down how men flirt over text without trying too hard, and why relaxed confidence usually works better than forcing attraction. 1. Stop treating texting like a competition. One of the biggest mistakes men make is treating texting like they have to constantly impress a woman. So every message becomes overly planned, overly calculated, overly emotional. They spend too much time thinking, what should I say next? How do I sound attractive? How do I make her like me? And that pressure changes your energy. Instead of sounding natural, you start sounding like someone trying too hard for approval. Women can feel that quickly. A real-life example. A woman sends a simple message. How was your day? Some men turn this into a giant performance. My day was amazing, honestly. I had meetings, gym, business stuff. I've been super busy. Now it sounds forced. A relaxed man might simply say, pretty good. Almost survived the day, with crying face emoji. Simple, natural, easy to reply to. That kind of texting feels lighter. And lighter conversations usually create better attraction than forced, perfect conversations. 2. Don't text like you're desperate for attention. Women can usually feel when a man is emotionally waiting around his phone, and that energy changes everything. For example, replying instantly every single time, double texting constantly, panicking when replies slow down, trying to keep conversations alive forever. This creates pressure, because now the conversation feels emotionally heavy instead of fun. A lot of men think, if I text more, she'll feel more interested. But usually, too much texting too early kills mystery and excitement. A better approach is enjoy the conversation, but don't emotionally depend on it. That energy feels healthier. A man who can text normally, disappear naturally, focus on life, not panic over replies, usually feels calmer and more attractive, because emotional balance always shows through texting. 3. Flirting works better when it feels playful. Many men think flirting means trying hard to sound seductive, using game lines, but good flirting usually feels playful, not forced. For example, instead of, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, you could simply say, you definitely look like trouble with crying face emoji. That feels lighter. Or instead of, I can't stop thinking about you, you might say, you really enjoy distracting people from being productive, huh? Playful flirting works because it creates emotion, creates fun, creates tension naturally, without sounding desperate. And desperation is what ruins attraction most of the time. 4. Don't turn every conversation into validation seeking. A huge texting mistake many men make is constantly seeking reassurance. For example, do you miss me? Why are you dry? Are you losing interest? You don't like me anymore? Too much reassurance seeking makes conversations emotionally draining, because now the woman feels pressure instead of attraction. A calmer man notices energy changes, but doesn't immediately panic. He stays relaxed, keeps conversations light, avoids emotional pressure, and that energy feels emotionally safer, because confidence over text is mostly emotional calmness, not saying alpha things. 5. Don't force conversations that are dying naturally. This is one of the biggest mistakes men make. Sometimes a conversation naturally slows down. That's normal, but many men panic when this happens. So they keep sending random messages. Force topics. Over text. Desperately try to restart energy. And now the conversation starts feeling forced. A real-life example. The conversation slows down. Instead of relaxing, the man says, "So what are you doing? You there? Why did you disappear? Guess you're busy now, lol." Now it feels needy. A better approach is, let conversations breathe. Sometimes attraction grows better when there's space, not constant forced interaction. 6. Stop trying to impress her every minute. A lot of men think attraction comes from constantly proving value. So they brag too much, talk about money constantly, try too hard to sound successful, overflex lifestyle. But most of the time, this feels insecure instead of attractive. Because truly confident people usually don't need to oversell themselves constantly. A man who is naturally confident, talks normally, jokes naturally, shares things calmly, doesn't force status every minute, and that energy feels more believable. Women usually trust relaxed confidence more than performative confidence. 7. Timing matters more than most men think. Texting is also about emotional timing. For example, don't force deep conversations at random moments. Don't send emotional paragraphs too early. Don't constantly overwhelm conversations. Good texting has rhythm. Sometimes, short conversations work better. Playful energy works better. Ending conversations naturally works better. Not every interaction needs to last forever. Sometimes leaving the conversation at a good moment creates more attraction than dragging it too long. Because anticipation matters. 8. Relaxed men usually text better naturally. One reason some men naturally text well is because they are relaxed emotionally. They don't treat every conversation like, "This girl determines my happiness." And that changes everything. Because relaxed people sound calmer, joke easier, flirt more naturally, don't overreact emotionally. While anxious men usually overthink, overtext, force energy, panic too fast. Women often feel this difference quickly. That's why texting success is not just about words. It's also about emotional state. 9. Mystery disappears when you over-explain everything. Some men reveal too much too quickly. For example, long emotional paragraphs early, constantly explaining feelings, oversharing everything immediately. And this removes emotional mystery. Now the interaction feels too emotionally heavy too fast. Attraction usually grows better when things unfold naturally, not when everything gets emotionally dumped immediately. A woman should slowly discover you over time, not feel like she read your entire emotional diary in 2 days. 10. The goal of texting is not endless texting. This is important. Many men accidentally turn texting into the relationship itself. But texting should mostly build connection, create emotion, build comfort, create excitement, not become endless emotional dependence. The strongest interactions usually happen when texting supports real-life connection, not replaces it completely. At the end of the day, men who text well usually have one thing in common. They don't treat texting like a desperate mission to earn validation. They stay relaxed, flirt naturally, don't panic emotionally, allow conversations to breathe, focus on connection instead of performance. And that energy changes everything, because women often respond more to emotional calmness, playful energy, relaxed confidence, than perfectly crafted lines. A man trying too hard usually overthinks, overtexts, overchases, overreacts, and over time, that pressure kills attraction. But a relaxed man feels different. He enjoys the interaction, stays emotionally balanced, doesn't force connection, keeps his own life moving. And ironically, that's usually the type of energy women enjoy texting the most. Because attraction grows better in conversations that feel natural, not emotionally forced. Click the subscribe button, like, share, and follow for more.